The Two Business Guys Mastermind on how to get paid on the back end. In this episode, the back end business plan. Enjoy. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy.
I'll remind you next week. Next week is my birthday. I will not be taping.
All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're talking about something I think you're going to enjoy this one today simply because we're talking about that back-end business plan, right? Now, remember, last week, if you listened to one of the earlier episodes, we had talked about how you can get paid by offering something free, right? And this week, it's really about how do you create that, that back end to your business? And we're going to show you a couple examples too. The back end to your business that can just build it up like crazy. So, Rob has a system. I've got a system, and it really involves this. When you talk about the back end business plan, right? It is, what are you offering on the front end that maybe covers your cost, maybe even lose a little bit, but you got so much on the back end, what you're offering that's coming up, the next 3 to 4 things that you're offering that increases your cart size. Right now, we want you to really dig into this because it really goes well with that whole idea that you can build a booming business. And we're talking about building a booming business on the back end. So Rob, who do you, we subscribe to a lot of stuff. We buy courses, right? We have courses. Man, I tell you, the best I've seen at the back end, man, part of it, right? And make sure we say that right, is Russell Brunson, man.
Yes.
You jump into his stuff. Steve Larson's, he's the same guy, same way. You jump into their stuff, you're gonna get something on the front. Hey, I got a book. Anik Singal, he's another one that says, I want to send you a free book. I'm gonna send it to you, right? And it's like, yeah, I'll take that free book.
Yep. And
then next thing you know, you've got all of these other back end offers, right? So
exactly.
What do you notice? If you buy something from, I can tell you buy something from ClickBank or JVZoo, right? You buy something, it's JVZoo product, whatever, and the offer comes in, you're like, oh my God, this is only $27. Right? That's it. Oh yeah, that's it. But then right. And I found something. I want to tell you guys about this, right? We're gonna go, it's a spot called Commission Junction. This is where you'll get a lot of the back end stuff. You can make offers and just put the whole page up. That becomes becomes your back end offer. But Rob, who do you know out there that's doing this at a high level, and how can we share that with
and a lot of the people that you talked about, I would add to that list, Rick Valentine, Brendan Bouchard, and then I know from the service space, right? One of my mentors, Angela Loria, one of the things that she talked about so much about this was, right, you can write a book, you can do whatever you need to do as a front end offer. It's really a lead magnet. It's really an opportunity for you to get your information out to people, for you to be able to give value. And then what that does is it creates know, like, and trust with the client without really costing you a lot. I mean, you think about it, printing costs, even if you go through, because right, I've done my books through Amazon, printing costs are generally somewhere between $3 and $4. If you have a book that's 150 or more pages, if you got a smaller book, it's between $2 and $3. And so when you think about getting something to a customer, for this lead, you might be paying $2 to $5. If they buy something $10 or more, you've already made your money plus some. And that's not even your major product. That's not even your major program. And so the whole idea is just understanding the cycle, right? There's a book, and I'm looking to see if I have it out here with me. Here it is. Hold on one second. So this book right here, Social Media Success for Every Brand, is written by Claire Diaz Ortiz. She's a former, I can't remember exactly what her title was at Twitter, but she was the person that basically would go and teach all the high profile people how to use Twitter when it first came out. Mm-hmm. She started as an intern and worked her way up. And then now she does a lot of stuff with StoryBrand and other things. But what she talks about is that there's a client engagement ladder, right? So a lot of times we think that there's just one sale or just one ask or just one call to action. And what you have to understand is that there's a life cycle to clients. And you know this, Randy, we talk about it all the time, LTV, right? The lifetime value of a client. And so many people are, you know, especially beginning entrepreneurs. And I fell into this trap a lot where I was just focused on, can I get this one sale? Can I get this one sale? Can I get this one sale? And the thing that I realized was you do all of that work. The hardest work you're going to do is acquiring a new client.
Right.
It's so much easier to sell stuff to somebody that you've already sold stuff to and made them feel and convince them that you can do a good job. And just think about it. You go to a new restaurant. The first time you go, you're like, I'm not really sure about this place. We'll see. Let me check something normal on the menu. You go to that restaurant and that thing that you ate is amazing. Not only are you going to that restaurant more often to get that thing and to get other things, but you're telling your friends, you're telling your mama, you're telling your, right, your coworkers, you're trying to get people to go to lunch there with you. Because once you find some place that you like, the beauty of it is that solves a problem for you that you've had for however long. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. And that is what you do for your clients. But you've got to be able to say, okay, this is the main thing that I do for my clients. What are some other things that I can do to give them value that don't cost me a lot of money, right? Because again, you don't want to, Rick Valentine calls it getting paid to get paid, right? Instead of having loss leaders and stuff like that, because like we're not big corporations. I ain't got, you got, money bags like that, you do you. But when I started, right, I had 3 different part-time jobs so that I could put food on the table while I was building my business, right? And so when you don't have a lot of cash to outlay like that, what you want to be able to do is you want to do things that cost you little to no money, but give tons of value to your clients. And so that's what you hit them with on the front end. So it gets them saying yes, it gets them tuned in, it gets them seeing who you are, understanding who you are, and trusting you, knowing, liking, and trusting you, so that when you go and say, hey, do you have this big problem? Are you dealing with this? Are you tired of dealing with it? I'm the person that can help you. You already know that I've helped you before. Here's how I can help you. And then you have an even bigger back end thing that says, and I will continue helping you for 6 months, a year, 2 years. And that's where the big bucks really come in.
So now you guys, are you hearing this now? Are you tracking? Hopefully you guys have been able to look at, hear what we're saying. And I want to show you, let's see if my board will pull up here and I can work with it. But you start thinking about it here like this, right, guys? All right. Can you see this board? All right.
Yep.
All right. So here you got, in this particular case, we're talking about the traffic source, right? So where is the stuff coming in from? So you got your traffic source. Are you doing ads? Are you doing email? Did they come in from social media? Right now, you take it over to your book or your product, right? So whatever it is, I'm getting ready to mess some stuff up, y'all. So just bear with me. So your book, your whatever. Now I use books. It could be any kind of product, right? I've even used some audio programs, right? Some free, a free video. So you could say your book,
checklists, webinars, you could
videos, anything that you believe. Now you heard what Rob said, something that gives value. Now, where are we taking them? This is what you're thinking about even before you start that offer, is you're saying, what am I trying to do? We're going to figure this part out. What is the best traffic source for them? But the main thing is you're talking about the back end. So you bring them in. You've heard this term before, funnels, right? What is funnels, right? If you've seen any of Russell Brunson stuff, funnel is just a basic place where people come and you take them through a series of whatevers. Right now, the inbound marketing folks, they call it, flywheel, all that kind of stuff, right? But here it is. So you're bringing them in with your book or video or whatever you decide to be of value, your checklist or whatever. Now you're saying, what one offer can I, when they come in, what else can I give them? Right. So now, I like to take them sometimes to a video, right? So that allows me to go over to a video that then has a, do you want it kind of a question, right? That call to action, right? So now this video then is a little extra. So what you've done, get this, what you've done is you brought them in, right? Whether it is your book or video, and then you can kind of reverse it. And then you deepen the relationship by saying, hey, here's some more value for you. And then we can say, let's just call that CTA, because if I start, writing too much, it's just going to be really a bad deal, right? But then you go, okay, well, that's number one thing that you can, again, deepen the relationship with. Now, what is that going to take them to? Right? So then you say, well, hey, people say, I kind of like this person, right? Rob, he seems pretty energetic. I like the way he's talking. It seems to make sense. You've convinced them that you can do some stuff. They can actually do this stuff. Then you go, okay, here's an offer for you. What is that offer? Well, I like what I think it was Perry Belcher. He says, well, first thing you do is you convince them that there's gold under the ground. That's how he put it. There's gold under the ground. It's my stuff. Hey, it's gold. Then he says, then you offer a map. Right? And he says, hey, this is how you get to the gold under the ground. Right? And this is not mine. This is Perry Belcher. He said, then you got your offer. So let's say you got your first offer. And then he says, well, why not after that, why not offer them something like this? Hey, after the map, here's a shovel. Right? So Perry, if you're listening to this, hopefully I'm doing some justice to what you're, but it makes so much sense, right? He says, and then by the way, here's a map. Do you need someone to show you even more where it is? So you offer a guide. And who's the guide? Well, that's you. Right? Now, let's break this down. So your first offer is a map. So that could be something, $4, $3. We could use, $4.99. I like $4.97, right? And then the map might be, you say the map, right? Now, this is metaphor for whatever it is you're saying. Let me help you get you there, right? Hey, if you hire me, I can show you how to get there exactly. Or you could take this and do it yourself, right? So that can be $27. And you said, but by the way, if you need a guide, all right? Oh, I know I'm missing something here. I know what it is. So Perry, don't get mad at me. The shovel. So right in here, you're offering the shovel, right? So let's say you're offering the shovel right here. Let me go over here and erase that real quick. Hold on. So you're offering the shovel. So I'm going to just put it in here. All right, so look, everybody, but you see what's happening here, right? You offer a map and then say, by the way, when you get to the goal, you're gonna need a shovel. And then they go, you know what, I am. So all of these are back end opportunities. So remember now, you brought them here for relatively little money. Now, our guy, Rick, he likes to say, look, let's get paid to get paid. So let's just try to get them this book for $5 or something like that, right? So in this case, he's offering for $4.99 because he wants to say, let's get a little money in that we can pay for our traffic source cost, right? Especially if you're running ads.
Right. And then you're playing with house money going forward.
That's it. So are you seeing what's happening here is that you got this thing that you're bringing folks in, right? You've got maybe another little video. I got this automated webinar that I'm starting to run next week. An automated webinar that says, listen, here is this piece. I want to give you this video. I'm going to show you how to turn just about everything you do into income. It's my big program, right? The Monetize Your Life system, right? So within the Monetize Your Life system, I'm showing you how to take things that you had never thought about and turn them into income. It changes everything. It changes your life, right? And then, so we do that, right? Call to offer, call to action, another offer, $4, right? Whatever price you want to put out there. Map, shovel, guide. I tell people when you get to the guide, when you get to me, that's where the price really goes up, right? So as the guide, that could be your major coaching program that is running, anywhere between 3K, right? And, whatever it is, 15K, whatever you know that your ideal customer will afford. Because I can tell you, Rob, when you have a guide, think about this for a minute, everybody. We go to college and we listen to who? Professors.
Teachers, professors, yep.
Guide, right? We buy courses, guide. We, have our one-on-one coachings, guide.
Right.
So this is kind of how it looks and how you can start doing some really interesting things just by mapping it out a little bit here, right? Where am I bringing them in from? What am I bringing them to? Am I getting to, like Rob talked about, that know, like, and trust, right? Oh, can I deepen the relationship a little bit more, right? By giving them another little added value. This is like the bonus. And then start making your back end offers. That, when they talk about increasing your cart value, is what you're doing out there, everybody. I'm telling you, it works like magic. And we want you guys out there doing it.
Now, one thing before we go, but and go ahead, put that back up for just a second, because I want to talk to the entrepreneurs that are out there that are listening to us that just had their minds blown. Feels like they drinking from a fire hose right now.
Okay, so let's take a sip out of the fire hose, y'all.
Right. So I want to pause for y'all for just a second, because I know this. I know for me, this was overwhelming. It was like, how am I going to make all that stuff? I ain't got time, and this, and I don't even have all that. Where's this going to come from? And so I want you all to take a breath, because a lot of times what we feel like is we got to have everything now. And the reality is, no, you don't. And this is why when we talk about your first couple of steps, right, most people are already at the end. Most people have figured out, I got the guide. Like, it's either the done for you or the done with you version of whatever it is. So, right, if you've got a graphic design business, if you've got a even coaching and consulting business, you're like, I come in and I help people. I show them how to do, right? You see a lot of people who in the physical fitness space, right? That this is where they know they're comfortable. And what I want you all to understand is your expertise is vast. You might not realize it right now, but you know a lot more than your average client is going to know. That's why they would want to work with you. That's why they would pay so much money to work with you. But you can break down what you know into smaller bits and smaller bites, because you've got to understand that the people that are going to trust you to work with you are different, and they have to grow to get to know you and grow to get to trust you. And so this whole idea, right? Normally what I see with people who are at the guide stage, right? And this is the problem that I went through. You're at the guide stage, and so you don't use traffic sources because it takes so much time and energy to talk to people on the phone, to get them to understand you, to get to know and like and trust you before you're even comfortable presenting your idea to them for them to buy it. Or you're on the other end of the spectrum, right? So there's one group that's not talking to a lot of people because you don't got the funds to get yourself out there to a lot of people, and you know that you're trying to and you deal with fear of rejection and a whole bunch of other stuff, and you're really trying to just work with the people you want to work with. That's one side of the spectrum. And you got the other side of the spectrum where you go talk to everybody and you get rejection after rejection after rejection, and your closing rate is less than 10%. And you're trying to figure out why that is, right? And I need you all to understand here that what Randy and I are talking about is how you get to the point where your big ticket item sells easily. I've done it the wrong way. I've done it the way where where I talked to 10 people and one person converted, and that one person was somebody that I knew for 5 years before I had talked to them. So it was a completely different experience. This whole process is how you build out your know, like, and trust system so that you can put money in on the front end and pull money out on the back end. And I remember when I first started seeing this stuff, it was so difficult to grasp because I felt like everything that I had to do had to be, $1,000 or more of worth of value. And it's not that. Everything that Randy said was so powerful. You've got a book or a video or something that is valuable. It moves their lives forward. It gives them a couple of tips. It gives them a little bit of information about the problem that they're dealing with. And the reason why you do that is so that they see that you understand their problem and that you know what you're talking about. But you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount, right? This can be long form Facebook posts, long form YouTube videos. It can be anything that and you can sell it for whatever price you want to sell it for, right? The whole goal is just to make enough money to cover your costs as far as client acquisition.
Yeah.
But then you move to the video, right? With a CTA that may take them directly to your program. But if they don't go to your program, now you've got a smaller offer. Again, something like a pamphlet, a checklist, a longer discussion about the journey that they're about to be on. Whatever the case may be, these are things that you can create easily in a couple of hours. It doesn't have to take you years. It doesn't have to take you months. It doesn't have to take you days. You can do it in a couple of hours. And now this is something that can give value to your clients. And again, you're offering it and you're not, it's $4.97. I like $3.97 because, right, 3 doesn't seem like it's that close to 5. It seems closer to 2 or to 1, right? Right. But at the end of the day, you're giving them a little bit and then you bump it up just a little bit more. But all of this stuff, most of the stuff you're talking about is under $50. People look at that and they're like, oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. Right. Especially the more they know, like, and trust you. If they get value with the first thing, they get value with the second thing, they get value with the third thing. And I want you to think about this. By the time you've asked them to give you $1,000 or more to work with you, they've already paid you $100 and felt like that was great. That was a great investment.
Yeah.
So how much better is it going to be if I actually have them working with me?
You're hearing it, right? I tell you, Rob, I had one the other, it was probably about 6 months ago, and it was beautiful. I love being sold. It's great, right? So email came in, and so the lady says, hey, I'd like to give you my highest converting emails of all of 2000, whatever it was, $1. So I was like, well, I'm taking that deal. $1. I bought it, $1, right? I get all of the the first parts of what she says in her emails, not the whole email, but it was because that was coming, right? It was, here is the subject lines that got the best openings. And then this is what she did, is that she not only had that, but she showed the percentage of opens. Okay, that's first $1. By the way, I'd like to show you, right? So she did it in years, right? She took 3 years and went back. This is what happened in 2000, this is what happened in 2000, this. You see what I mean? And I bought 3 of them. And once it got to the $27 offer, I'd like to show you one of the shortest emails that I actually, now you see what she did? She progressed me up. Now I'm already on her list, right? I'm already valuable to her, the asset that she has from the list. And you can use this system to build a nice list. Exactly. A nice email list that, that asset that you can start having conversation with people over and over and over again. Right. And now, again, when you say to yourself, I don't have time, this is where, Rob and I will walk this through you. We'll come on Zoom. You got to pay us. We'll come on Zoom and we'll show you how to do something like this or how to deepen that. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting off or if you're a big business. I was doing some work with the company earlier this week, right? And, I'm doing my pitch. Hey, you want to hire me? Here's what it's going to cost you, right? But here are all the things I'm going to do. And it was like 10 times the value. Why? New relationship, right? I want to overwhelm them with what they're going to get for this price point. Why? Because that's my entry into.
Exactly.
Now you guys are hearing that. That's your, I charge more than that, but you build a relationship.
Right. And this goes back to what we were talking about as far as, can you get paid or giving away stuff for free? Now, something I want to ask you, Randy, because you've always been way better at this than me, right? Like Randy's the marketer. Are we good
with this one?
Yeah, we go with that. We can pull it off, right? Randy's the marketer, so that you all are aware. Like I came to marketing, kicking, screaming, and clawing, and asking not to be brought to it. So talk to the people a little bit about that process of understanding the longer life cycle of a customer. Because for me, I remember when I first started, and I had run businesses before, but over 10 years of running different businesses, my mindset was still the same, which was I got to get them, I got to close them, like I got to meet them and close them in the next, like in that meeting. If I don't meet them and close them in that meeting, I got to go find somebody else and meet them and close them, meet them and close them. Like it was a churn method.
Yeah, it becomes the question of the hunter versus the farmer, right?
So talk to the people about that a little bit.
Absolutely. And the hunter is always killing and eating, right? They're feast, but then they're famine. Our good friend of mine, Ricardo Johnson, talks about this all the time. And he says, Bridge, I love the fact that, man, you were a farmer, right? And the really cool part about this, I even wrote about this in one of my Reluctant Entrepreneur book. I said, I'd always been a farmer, so I always ate. He's always been a hunter, right? So he had those times of feast and famine. But when I had to become a hunter because I was going into business, I didn't have the skills. I had to develop it. So I hung out with him and learned how he was setting traps. And then at the same time, I made sure I had a little planting somewhere just in case, right? So with the planting farmer, versus, hunter approach, it is as you're looking at your customer and you're saying, well, what is the lifetime value? Typically in your business, people think about what you do. You're with a company for a little while until you find something else, some new shiny thing comes along. But in the meantime, 18 months, 6 months, 4 months have gone by. For that customer, the lifetime value that you provide is maybe a window of 3 to 18 months. Within that time frame, you typically have bought this amount of product.
Yes.
Right. And it's just, we don't want to dig into it too much because it'll just, we nerd out on it, but it's valuable to understand that.
Yeah. That point that you made is so powerful. And I love the analogy of the hunter versus the farmer, because I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, right, there's two components that turns them into hunters. And at least this is how it was for me. One component that made me a hunter was fear of failure, right? Because with farming, you don't figure out you can fail till the harvest comes.
That's right.
You're like, oh, I've been working for 6 months and it ain't working, right? Like, and so as a hunter, you go out, you see your prey, you either hit it or you don't, right? So you get that instant feedback. That was one of the things, and I think that comes from, again, people not knowing how to do a lot of the stuff that we teach entrepreneurs with regard to with regard to market research and with regard to beta testing and all the different types of ways that you can get that instant feedback on the front end, while at the same time building, right, sowing seeds in fertile ground for referral sources and or clients. That's one piece. But then the second thing I think is, as we're trying to figure out, right, if you're hungry right now, farming isn't going to solve that problem for you unless you learn how to farm in such a way where you can scavenge as well, right? Like, and these things that we're talking to you all about are specifically designed to allow you to eat while you're doing the deep planting, the big planting for the big harvest, right?
Don't eat all the seeds, just some.
Exactly, right? Like you take and the whole beauty of this, and it's right. I was slow to this or to getting to this point. So I understand if you're out there right now and you're listening and like you just don't see how this can happen. Like I told you, Randy and we had another friend, Chris, who are both amazing marketers, and we would go to lunch and we would sit down. I'm like, I know y'all get it, but I just don't we would have these conversations.
The impatient entrepreneur, that was
exactly, right?
I want it now.
Right. And the realization is you've got to get enough so that you can sustain yourself, but to realize that the big money comes after that. And I mean, it took me a while to really see that. I mean, I've got a couple clients now where the relationship started 6 months, a year beforehand. And then they first paid me, and it was, it was nice money, right? You made a couple thousand, $3,000, $6,000, but that was for one event. But because of the relationship that we built on the front end, which was maybe 4 or 5 months before we did work together, and then that one item, now I have a $50,000 contract on the back end where the rest of my year is paid for most of it. I'm only doing, a couple of days of work.
Planting seeds.
Exactly.
They may have fed you a little, right? But not a lot until you got the big harvest.
Exactly.
But you see what even with that illustration and what Rob just said, what did you hear? Planted, right? And Gary V talks about the jab, give, value. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there. What do we call them? They just like the freebie stuff. Now, and what Rick Valentine talks about is, look, let's get past those freebie seekers. Right. And we know I've been a freebie seeker because I can get a lot of free stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. Thank you very much. What do you mean you're charging me? No. Right. If Google ever started charging, they're like, okay, Gmail, you're out. But you see what's happening now is that he says, well, Rick Valentine talks about this. You get a little money now that covers this, and not just covers that, but it does a little extra. Even like I say, the Brunsons of the world, they do the same concept, right? I'm gonna send you this book. Onik, he doesn't say, send you this book.
You cover the shipping.
Now, this is something funny. I thought I went and bought this, and this is an experiment that I'm going to be trying here pretty soon. Is I've got this CD, right? Now, this thing cost me a couple of bucks, but on here, I can put all kinds of stuff. And the cool thing is that you see, it's got little, you can stick it into your phone and then just pull up whatever. So I thought, I wonder if I can grab something like this, put maybe a long form program on there, right? And then they got the convenience of having it. And I don't know, I'm testing some stuff, right? So, and I thought, well, but I could put all kinds of other stuff on there, all kind of bonuses, all kind of links, all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to say, look, this is what I'm going to be sending you guys. So, you're not going to get a book, but you're going to get this opportunity for you to just take this, plug it in wherever you are, right? And then get this, because I'm sending this to you and it's got a whole bunch of, room on it. You can have it and use it for other stuff. You can put your pictures on and you can. So now what I just did was, it says, here's the offer. Buy this. I'm going to send this to you on there. When you open it up, it then has all of the other links. Now you get this and go, well, heck, that's valuable in itself. Because I can use it for my pictures. You can literally take your pictures off, drop them on there, and this kind of have that thing. Send it to other folks.
That's exactly. I've been in that same thing. Billy Jean, who does Billy Jean is marketing. That's exactly the first thing that I ever did. He had the first thing that I ever got from him was, and I had been watching his videos, for about 6 months or whatever before I ever decided to buy anything. He did a promotion, and it was here are all of our top selling ad campaigns for the last year, and it was like $3 or $4, and it was a jump drive that they would send to you, and they send you the jump drive, and then of course when you go to get the jump drive, they send you a couple of emails. First, they do the upsells and everything on the back end, but I was nope, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting till I get this jump drive to see if it's actually valid, all the rest of that. So then, but they now you're on a list, so they keep hitting you, and so you get to see their marketing, you get to see exactly what they're doing. And so, a couple months later, he does something else. He's got a course. I'm like, oh, that's a good course. Now I'm $200 in. Then a couple years later, right, I'm $200 more in. Then I finally had them do an ad for me. So that was another $500 or something like that. But over the life of me being in their ecosphere, they'd made $2,000-$3,000 from me. And the work that they had to do in order to do that, he might have had to spend a couple $100.
That's it. Did y'all just see the economics there? Emails, that's an asset that you gathered from just an offer for something minor. And now here's the thing, why this works and why, Rob and I argue about this a little bit sometimes. I'll be like, man, stop sending stuff and all that kind of stuff, unless it's in the most automated way, right? but it works. And Rob said something to me as I was arguing about an approach he was taking.
Mm-hmm.
He says, yeah, but people like stuff in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And that shut me up, because you know what? That's absolutely true. The mere fact that you're going to have something in your hand, right? Whether it's this, whether it is, a book that you get, right? Or something like that. Inside of here is a book, everybody, right? Something like that. Now, this is a PDF book, but I can remember, getting some Grant Cardone stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see the book, I see him sign this book. I said, oh, I want the book, and it's free. Just cover shipping. Now we know it's how you make some money.
Right. It didn't cost them
We
that
know
much.
that it doesn't cost $7 to ship this little old book that I got.
Mm-hmm.
It costs, maybe half that, but that's revenue with the promise that I'm going to have something in my hand.
Yes. And that's the whole thing. Because there's a number, and there's psychological factors that go into this, right? When you've got something coming to you, now it creates anticipation. When the mail gets there, now you've got, it's kind of like that Christmas morning feeling. You get to open up the package, you get to get everything, and now it's in your hand and you can use it, right? Now, but to be clear, there is a space for digital stuff as well, because you're a master at sending people digital stuff and having them pay for digital stuff.
The digital downloads.
Right. And so the big thing that you have to pay attention to is who is your customer and what are they looking for? Right. Now, the conversation that Randy and I were having was because the funnel, right? The gold at the end of the ground was to a customer base that wanted to have things in their hand. The big thing, the kind of intermediate thing that we were going to be selling them after we send them the other thing was something in their hands. So I want to get them used to getting something in their hands from me before I ask them to pay a lot of money to get something in their hands from me. Right.
And that's what shut me up, because once he was able to rock out the system and why that made sense, it told me that he knew his customer and he knew what they wanted.
Oh, that right there. Talk a little bit more about that, Mr. Marketing Maestro, because I think that so many entrepreneurs, and I was like this too, so many entrepreneurs don't spend enough time getting to know their customer. And I remember for me, it was, I didn't have answers to those questions, and I didn't feel like I knew where to get answers to those questions. Yeah. So can you walk through that process and kind of how you teach people and how you work with people to really get to know their customer really well?
It's the funniest thing. And I understand this, from, we were talking about fishing, right? What do the fish like to eat? You get people coming out there and they've got plastic worms. Well, guess what? They come home with nothing. Right. And I use some night crawlers or some red worms, and I'm coming home with a bucket full. It's because I have discovered where I was fishing, they like to eat this. It's the same concept when you're determining who my customer is. I tell you, if you spend 90% of your time figuring that out, you spend the last 10% making big money, right? We've heard it in a ton of ways. Sharpen the axe more, don't chop a lot, sharpen it enough you can chop once, right? Exactly. We've heard it in all these kind of ways. Exactly. But this is what you're doing with your customers, right? You're understanding as much as you possibly can, and you get this data in a lot. What I do is I go right to where they're already buying something.
How do you figure that out, right? Like, because I heard that a lot. And of course, now on the other end, I get it. But I heard that a lot when I first started, and it used to frustrate the heck out of me when people say, do opposition research. Who are your competitors? Right? Like, when you're first starting, especially when you're a small business, you're like,
here's some free sources,
I don't know who my competitors are. I don't know who those people are. Like, how do you start that journey and not feel like you just, throwing a fishing pole in the middle of the ocean?
One of the best things I do is I go to YouTube. Right. I start typing in, and this is something that you had reminded me when you were writing one of your books is, and I think it was your mentor that told you, you go to YouTube, you type in, you see what shows up. But guess what? On the end of that YouTube video is a person that's potentially selling to the folks that you want to attract.
There you go.
So then you're looking and going, now we take that adds. Now there are services that you can literally take the YouTube video, find out, where they're going to, backlinks, all this good stuff. I use keyword research tools that I can find this information out, right? But the simple stuff, the easy stuff. Now, this is where sometimes you need a guide, right? This is where you have, Rob and I come in and set your system up for you, set it so you can forget it, right? Now that's going to cost you a couple of bucks, but get this, it saves you the more precious thing, and that's time.
Exactly.
The most precious thing, and that's understanding. It's set up, then it can run for you, right?
Exactly.
Then, but that becomes the thing. You're looking at the competition. You're finding out who's already selling to my ideal customer. Huh?
And yeah,
and we call it audience jacking.
Yes, and that space that you're talking about, I think if there's one thing, and I don't know if y'all caught it, but if there's one thing that Randy just talked about, it's at the heart of all of that. Right, because it can get super technical and super wonky if you wanted to. But the basic thing that he said was, who's selling to the person that has the problem that I'm trying to solve? Who's already selling to them, right? Like, so if you are somebody who is a fitness guru and you're trying to help women lose weight, or you're trying to help guys get jacked and ready for the summer, whatever it is that you're trying to do, what the first thing that you have to look at is, what's one question, just one question. What's one question that my ideal client has, or what's one thing that they're looking for, right? If you're taking the fitness analogy, right, they're probably looking for how to lose weight quickly. Just that one question can send you down a pathway that will give you just a gold mine of information about this client. Like, you don't have to feel like you got to get the top 10 questions that your client is going to ask, or if you know one question that you're certain that your client is definitely asking, go search that question in Google, go search that question in YouTube, go find the people that are talking about that topic, go immerse yourself in what those people are doing. Because here's the key, and this is the thing that I didn't get, and it was really hard for me to want to go here. Those people may not be as good as you are at solving the problem, but they're 10 times better than you are at fishing for the clients.
And get this, you remember how back in the day, it was like the Burger King versus the McDonald's. Well, Burger King sets up a spot. They've done all the market research. And what does the McDonald's do? They put one across the street.
Exactly.
Right? Somebody has already, you're kind of borrowing someone else's work to that degree, right? Because they've done the work. They have made the market, if you will. That's where you do want competition, because competition suggests to you that there's a market.
Exactly.
Now you're going to go in. And I was telling someone yesterday in a coaching, call. I was saying, don't try to boil the ocean.
Yes.
You are not the sun. You can't do it. Right? I says, but think about this. You could take a scoop, just a scoop, and you boil that. Now, once you boil that, it becomes potable or drinkable water.
Yes.
Right? Get your water, go get another scoop. Right? I said, this has become now how you are going and looking at the big market, and you go, oh my gosh, they own that market. But they don't own all of it. They don't own maybe the scoop you're going to take, and you're going to really, now this is the key, you're going to focus in on that little scoop of a niche, niche, however you guys say it. You're just taking that scoop and you're saying, I'm going to be the best from here. Now, the bigs may be going, you know what? We're not worried about that. What is that digital stuff? We're not worried about that. Said Blockbuster to Netflix. We're not worried about that. The Kodak was finding out digital. No, we do things where you can have it in your hand, and people don't want that anymore. Exactly. The point is that somebody took a scoop, just a subset, a niche, and they became the absolute best at that. Made some money, right? Yep. Or broke even.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it.
We have expertise, and we got a customer base that says, we buy from the bigs, but you've shown that in this one little area here, something tremendous is happening. We know you, we like you, we trust you, because all you did was concentrate on that one area, that specialty. We want to roll with you. What did you got next? And then that's where you, again, increase your cart value by offering that next service.
There you go.
You got extremely good at this one little thing.
Exactly.
Right now, this is what
perfect.
we want to talk about. That's the back end business, everybody. That's it. That's the method. You build it by doing these little seed drops. Right now, again, does it take some patience? Yeah. Right. And do you say to yourself, well, I got to eat in between time? Well, then there's approaches that you could take. You don't give the seed away for free. You say, well, that seed's $1. I'll show you one that I did this quite recently. And this is fun. So I did this one quite recently. Where is it? Maybe hold on a second. Let me pull it up here real quick. This is one that I did for a product that I have. And this is fun. So what was so fun about this one is I came out and says, listen, here's this program that I have. Can you see this? All right.
Yep.
I got a program. Check out the first lesson for what?
$1.
Just $1. Now, just $1. Now, what I did was I took the program, I took the course, and I took a section of it. Now, a good section where if you listen to that 40 minutes, you're getting gold value 10 times more. And then there's the next thing I said was that is a $74.25 savings. So that's showing people, wait a minute, I can get a little bit of it for $1, right? So what does that do? That helps me cover my ad cost. It gets people into the product. Then I got some other stuff, right? So, I go down here and I says, okay, here's the opportunity. Hey, I don't want the sample. I want the whole course. Because you got people say, I know enough about this. I need this enough for me to want the whole thing. You give them the opportunity. Right. So now this is a landing page that I built here. And this, I want to show you, man, I just want to give you guys some more gold. Look at this. So I got a video here, right? What does that video do? If they look at that video, because that video is on YouTube, every time I'm sending someone from my traffic source, remember this now, your ads, your email, they look at the video. What does that do? That brings up my video hours. It brings up your video views. So that is a very good way to now sell and get paid on the back end. Because the more views you get on YouTube, they start sending you checks.
Revenue,
right. And you've used this video. That's why I don't use, some of the services that you can use. Sometimes you can use Vimeo. Sometimes you can use, all these other services. I use something that's going to pay me again.
There you go. There you go.
And that becomes a thing. So then you go down and you says, okay, some more stuff here. Here's some bonuses. All right. $1. Say it again. Then I say, hey, here's a couple bonuses. You get, 2 instructors for the price of 1. All these different things that you are now saying to folks that value, but start here. Just $1. Come on now, we spend $1 just by walking out the front door. So I'm saying here's a chance to get into the stuff. That's how you're building the back end, by making a small offer, covers your costs. Now, some people are going out there again, doing it for free. That's fine. But you got a lot of freebie seekers.
Exactly.
Right. So your list is going to be terrible. It's going to be full of freebie seekers.
Here's the funny thing. And as we get ready to close out, I think we need to poke at this scab that I think a lot of the entrepreneurs listening have. A lot of you all are afraid to charge because you're afraid that nobody will buy.
Right.
And I want you to know,
I have been there, y'all.
Right. And I want you to know that Wayne Gretzky said it this way: you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
That's right.
Just because people aren't willing to buy right now doesn't mean that you can't tweak it, doesn't mean that you can't improve it, doesn't mean that you can't do something to make them ready to buy. But if your whole business is predicated on them buying this big thing from you, and that's the only way that you know how to make money, you're not gonna have the market to talk to get them to buy that big thing, because you don't have that many people that know, like, and trust you when you first start out. You don't have a reputation. You don't have, people who are talking about, oh my God, you don't got testimonials. You don't have all these types of things. And so in understanding the life cycle of your business, the process, you have to develop a group of people who know, like, and trust you and are willing to tell other people about how awesome you are. And the only way that you get to do that, right? You got to understand how people's lives work. Even people that have bought something from you aren't necessarily telling people about you because they bought it, they used it, it was great, but their life kept going. You've got to remain top of mind. You've got to remind them that you are amazing and that they have a good relationship with you, right? I mean, just think about it with your friends. I've got friends that I haven't talked to for 5 years, for 10 years. When we get on the phone, it's like we just talked to each other yesterday. And then I remember all the stuff. And now if there was something that I had thought about 2 years ago that I wanted to tell them that I forgot, all of that stuff starts flooding back. But it's because they called me. It's because we got on the phone together. But if you don't ever do that, if you don't ever reach out, even those people that you have built a relationship with, you will lose the word of mouth. You will lose the reputational advice. You won't be in the top of their mind. There'll be other things that they're thinking about. These little steps along the way on the front end help you to stay in the mind of the people that you are trying to give value to, so that even if they're not buying stuff from you right now, some of my best clients have come from referrals.
Yeah.
It's people that weren't even buying big stuff from me, but they referred somebody to buy big stuff from me.
Tipping point moments, everybody. You've heard that before. Tipping point, right? Tip. And the tipping point moment. That is what we're talking about building here. That's what we talk about building the
front end, so that you can have the back
end business.
Yes.
Right. The business is built in the back end. This is something that I was listening to a book yesterday. Now I'm fishing yesterday, right? I got my work done, started at 4 a.m, got my work done by 1 o'clock. I was out fishing. But get this, I put my work in early.
There you go.
Sent my sent my bills, sent stuff to my list. And I'm like, wait, I'm good. Right. Hear what I just said? Because I had built this. Now, and the guy said in the book, he says, build a path to your customers.
Yes.
Build a path to your customers. Right? He didn't say that there's going to be a path. He says, build one. This is what you're doing with that front end stuff, what we talked about last week, the free, right? Yes. And how you can now get paid. Or in this particular case, we're talking about, just a small ask. And then how that helps build the business and allows you to eat at the same time.
Yes.
Maybe eating a hamburger, but you'll get to the steak as you build the business, right?
Yes.
And this is, I literally got an email today, right? I got a program, Rob. I'm showing people, man, how to turn these annoying emails that they get in their inboxes into cash in their pockets. And I rocked that thing out just as a test, man. And people were like, I want to know how these annoying emails, because I get a lot of them. and I got one today, and it said, this is the goal part of it. And this is a part of the process that I show people is it says your process produces your results. Now, let me say that again, y'all. Your process.
Yeah.
How you getting people into your funnel, how you're planting if you're farming, how you're even hunting, right? Someone says, don't try to chase too many rabbits, you're going to catch none. I says, well, I'm going to chase one, but I'm setting traps for the others.
Exactly.
I'm catching some more than just one rabbit, right? So that becomes what traps are you setting with these approaches? And you don't have to do a whole bunch of things. You can just do one thing for a period of time.
There you go.
Intense period of time. That's taking a scoop out of the ocean and boiling it.
Yep. Focusing that energy. Yep. So masterminders, I want you all to put some stuff in the comments. Talk to us. Those of you all who are out there who have done this before, who have had some success, go ahead, put in the comments. Let us know, what are the things that you have put into the marketplace? What are the things that you have set up, for less than $5 or less than $10 that have generated traffic from you? What are those stories? Talk to us in the comments. And if you're out there and you haven't had anything or you're struggling figuring out how to do this, make sure you check the comments, because we're going to have a lot of the community putting stuff in there. So that'll be that. But also you can reach out to us. You go ahead and hit us up at the email and make
Business Guys Mastermind at gmail.com.
There you go. Business Guys Mastermind at gmail.com. You can get us an email and we'll get back to you and talk to you about some things specific for your business. So this has been amazing. Randy, as always, whenever we get into marketing, I'm always awed and amazed by all the stuff that this guy knows. It's crazy. Like I told y'all,
together, y'all.
I was sitting there kicking and screaming, and marketing has never been the thing that I love. But I've got to the point where I'm at least comfortable. We at least friends now. Whereas before I was always ready to fight with marketing. Not with Randy. Me and Randy always been good, but with marketing we wasn't really good. But you all, this is going to be an extremely important part of your business, and I want you all to be able to get just a longer term view. But like you said, we understand you got to eat, and we can help you to figure out ways to eat while you're building your harvest.
Right. We got it before we end. I know we only got a couple seconds here, but this is something we got a call last week, right? Or someone found us. I think they sent Rob a piece of information on social media, right? And the guy, I got a product. I want to do it this way. And we were like, let's go make sure that you validated it. Let's go try to get a prototype of it. The smallest thing, the MVP. Right now, we say that guy thousands of dollars just in a post because he was getting ready to go and spend big money on this, that, or the other. And we were like, well, how about doing it this way? How about planting that small seed? How about going out and seeing where customers already are, seeing what's in the marketplace? So when you now offer your thing, you offer it to a warm audience, and you didn't spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours doing it.
Exactly.
You've been able to take a scoop, boil that. People says, I want that. That's awesome. They drink, and you go get them some more.
There you go.
So hopefully you guys are able to, get this information. If it's been valuable to us, hey, like the channel. If you're listening to this on YouTube, or if you're listening to it on Anchor, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Get in touch with us, right? Put comments. Disagree, right? If you got a better system, we would love to take a look at that system, because we do it all the time. We get new information in, we go, let's see if we can apply it to our business.
There you go. Learners are earners.
Learners are earners. Y'all heard it here, guys. All right, we will talk to you next time, Masterminders. I really like what Rob said with that, Masterminders. We want to hear more from you as you want to hear from us. Right? So we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Rob. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Have a great one, everybody.